Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Gloucester Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of January 29th, 2026. This is an in-person meeting, but is also available as a Zoom, so people at home can participate if they so wish. For the record, the meeting ID for Zoom is 838-4518-7146. I recognize in attendance tonight myself, Joe Parisi, on Zoom, Michael Nyman, and on Zoom, James Gelati. To my right, Peter Canavo, Ronald Wilson, and Axel Ruiz. And we have a quorum. First order of business will be the approval of the chair to sign the following decisions: 68 Federal Street, 8 Great Ledge Lane, and 150 Main Street. I'll entertain a motion for that.
I move for the chair to approve the following decision.
Make sure and speak into the mic, please.
We have a motion made and seconded for the consent agenda. Roll call vote.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Ruiz,
Yes.
Keep going.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Next thing is the approval of the minutes from December 18th and January 8th. Any corrections or omissions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the two meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Made and seconded. Roll call on the minutes.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati.
I wasn't present.
Oh, right. Mr. Ruiz,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
You weren't here either. Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Okay, we had two continued applications tonight, both of which are going to be continued at the request of the applicant. The first was the Rebuild Gloucester LLC, an appeal of the calculation of a fee in lieu of payment under the inclusionary housing requirements for 6810 Orchard Road and 2224 Grapevine Road. The applicant was away and has not been able to get back in time to participate in this, so we're going to continue that to February. What's the second meeting in February? February 26th. And the second application of Harbor Light Community Partners at 256 Main Street. As you know, this is the 40B, and they've been working closely with our consultants on the drainage issues down there, and they're incorporating all that into their plan so that it satisfies not only the DPW, but our outside engineering consultants. That's one of the last hurdles, I think, before we'll be able to move ahead. And so we had a request from them because they weren't quite ready yet to continue. Do you remember the email when they wanted to go? Oh, he is. Okay, great. What was the date you asked for?
We said, we didn't specify, but I think to give the peer reviewer enough time to review the responses, we plan to get them to them in early February, like the first week. But I would say the 26th probably gives them enough time to review.
That's great.
So then the 12th.
Thank you. So both of the continued applications will need a motion to continue both of them to February 26th.
Make a motion to the applicant Rebuild Gloucester LLC for housing at 6810 Orchard Road and 22 and 24 Grapevine Road. Continue that to February 26th.
Second.
Made and seconded. Roll call.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. So that's continued. And second one?
I make a motion for Harbor Light Community Partners, Harbor Light Homes for permit for 40B to be continued, for 256 Main Street to be continued to February 26th.
Second,
Made and seconded, roll call.
Mr. Nyman,
yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes.
Thanks, all.
Okay, we'll see you in a month. We have 7 regular applications tonight. The first is the application of T&J Real Estate Investments LLC, seeking to modify an existing special permit to a new special permit to exceed the maximum authorized building height at 6 Parker Court.
Tethered. Good evening. For the record, my name is Joel Favaza. I'm an attorney at Seaside Legal Solutions with an address of 123 Main Street. If you need 1 second, I will get a slideshow up and we can get moving on this. Oh, so someone else is sharing? It's okay. I think we're in business now. Thank you for the approval. Okay. I am here on behalf of T&J Real Estate Investments LLC, and we still don't see it. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Happy to work out the bugs. Everyone else will go smoothly. So by way of background, we are in the R5 high density residential district. We are on an undersized lot. We have a non-conforming structure that is sitting inside the left, right, and rear yard setbacks. My client has owned the property since 2023. There's some permitting history here that some of you are familiar with and some of you may be looking for the first time. So in 2021, a previous owner received a special permit to alter and expand a pre-existing non-conforming structure and convert it from a single to a 2-family use. This included adding dormers, decks, etc. In 2023, my client obtained the property, and in 2023, he also renewed the 2021 permit. In 2024, during construction on the original permit, he exceeded the scope of what was permitted. There was a structural collapse on the first floor. Originally, the permit granted by this board was to renovate the first floor and rebuild the second floor. When the structural collapse happened, my client demolished the remaining portions of the building, which had not been permitted. There was not a 2, 4, 5 demo and replace permit on record at that time. He was sent to this board. This board issued an after-the-fact 245 demo permit, demo and replace. And then in 2025, my client applied for and obtained a building permit. That was in April of 2025. He began construction. In October 2025, he reached back out to the building department asking if he could go from a peaked roof to a flat roof. The building department told him that he couldn't go any taller than the original design that was already permitted, and he had to send in a sketch for the file to show what the flat roof was going to look like. He did that, and then when some as-built started coming in, the building department realized, wait a second, this building's over 30 feet in height, and there is no ZBA relief to go above 30 feet in height, so they sent us back here. That's the sketch that was on file showing the most recent iteration of the building. And that is where the building sits relatively currently by way of construction.
So Joel, just a quick question. I just want to make sure I
Sure.
understand what we granted for relief and then what was built. So did we grant above 30 feet?
No, that was the issue, is that the permit that the ZBA granted initially was a special permit to alter and expand, and then the subsequent modification was to alter and expand and demolish and replace.
Sure. Yep.
Like I said, side yard and rear yard setback penetrations. Throughout all of this, I will note that the footprint has remained unchanged from the very beginning in 2021. The footprint of this building has not changed. And every time this board has looked at it, it has remained unchanged. And so the modification here, we're sent in for height. I'm a belt and suspenders kind of guy. So I said, well, while we're here, I'll just request them to modify the permit to align with the plans that were submitted back in April and then in October, so that what is there aligns with what the board's most recent review is. Per usual, I have the plan set in here. This is an aerial shot of the property. This is the GIS. And these are some current photos of, obviously before the snow flew, of the construction to date. So this building permit timeline, I think this is what Mr. Nyman was curious about. So in March of 2025, the applicant applies for the building permit. The internal review process of the city begins. In April 3rd, 2025, the applicant, I believe, was requested to upload a revised plan set. The plan set that he uploaded on April 3rd clearly shows the building at a proposed height of 35 feet above average grade. And then 13 days later, building permit BLD 25175 is issued and allows to have the house built according to plans. And it specifically notes that the height of the building is 35 feet. So with a building permit in hand, based on these plans and a height of 35, the applicant began constructing. And, by way of a bit of background, Mr. Scapatuello, who's the principal behind the LLC, he does a lot of construction in many municipalities. As you may know, 30 is a typical max height. 35 is also a typical max height. There are communities on the North Shore that you can build 35 by right. And so he thought nothing of it when he submitted the plans. And when he received a building permit indicating 35 feet was allowed, he proceeded for more than 6 months. So then in October, as I mentioned, again, before making any changes, because he had learned the lesson the first time when he demolished the house and got dragged in here to fix that, he knew to always ask permission first. He calls the Inspection Services Department. He says, hey, can I convert the peaked roof shown in the original plans to a flat roof? I think I have some headroom in here that could, make this more usable space. And again, he was told that that's okay, so long as one, you don't go any taller than what the building permit plans initially showed. And two, you got to submit a drawing showing the modification. So on October 7th, he uploads a revised elevation plan that shows a flat roof instead of a peaked roof, and now it's only at 34 feet above average grade. Again, the original peaked roof with the building permit was 35 feet, so it's come down a foot. And he gets the thumbs up, and he goes and he constructs the modified flat roof. A couple weeks later, some as-built plans start rolling in. And the Special Services goes, well, like I said, hold on a second, this is too tall. Now, fortunately, when the average grade actually was calculated by Kirk Benson, the flat roof isn't 34 feet, it's 32.6. So there's another 1.4 saved. But still, it's not 30, so therefore it is still exceeding the maximum allowable height, and it's not within the building department's discretion to authorize that kind of additional height. It has to come from this board. And so we applied for the permits that are in front of you. And so we have two standards. One is the modification of a special permit. And so to modify a special permit, you can do that so long as the interests of the neighborhood and the city are not impaired. Again, as I mentioned a moment ago, the footprint has remained the same through all of this. The use, the conversion to a two-family, has remained the same through all of this. There is a different roof line and architectural style, but again, the initial architectural style change was okayed by the building department in April, and then the revised roof line was okayed by the building department in October. So in each of these situations, it wasn't like he did this on a Sunday afternoon and hoped no one noticed. He was upfront and said, I'd like to do this. Can I do this? And they was told, yep, that's okay. We have to have due notice in a public hearing. Here we are. And there has to be good cause. And so again, in this situation, I'd say, pencils have erasers for a reason. Innocent mistake was made. What should have happened is back in April, the permit shouldn't have issued. The inspection services should have said, hey, Mr. Scapatuello, your plans show a 35-foot tall building. That's too tall. Get it down under 30 or go back to the ZBA and ask for height. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. He relied on the permit he was issued, and he's been building according to the plans he's submitted. And again, at each step of the way, these plans are shown and given to inspectional services prior to him taking those steps. So I think that's, certainly good cause. And then for the height permit, you have to make a finding that allowing this extra 2.6 feet is consistent with neighborhood character, not substantially detrimental to the neighborhood due to obstruction of views, overshadowing, et cetera. in this neighborhood, there's a 3.5-story multifamily building directly next door at 4 Parker Court. The properties down gradient are commercial, and there's no real shadow impact anyway because the sun coming across the southerly sky. And the homes on Stanley Court, which are closer to the rear of this property, are a much higher base elevation. And I actually pulled up the GIS. You can see that we're at about elevation 25 at the front of the property, and by the time you get to the neighboring property, the shared property line, the rear is at 35, and by the time you get to the street, you're north of 45 feet. So the properties behind it are typically 10 to 15, if not more, feet higher than this one. So I don't think 2.5 feet is going to make much of a difference there. And then again, as far as perspective, this yellow portion is the portion of the building that is over 30 feet. So everything below the yellow is compliant with the height. It's just this last portion at the top. And as you can see, it's not even the entire footprint, just kind of the main section of the house. So I don't think there's gonna be any overshadowing, impairment of utilities. And I believe it is in keeping with the neighborhood, which would hopefully allow the board to grant the special permit. So again, the 2 requests here are: 1, modify the existing special permit to conform to the most recent plans that were submitted to the Inspection Services Department, and a special permit to allow the existing 2.6 feet. Again, 35 feet was proposed. We're not asking for the full 35, just 32.5 that was built is all that we need to move forward with this. And so I will thank you. I will take my screen down. I'm happy to answer any questions.
So my first question is, do you believe that when we approve a building and we stamp it and I sign my signature to it, that you can send a different set of blueprints in, and as long as nobody catches it, that's okay?
No, I don't believe that. What I do believe, Mr. Chairman, is that routinely the plans that are presented in front of this board differ in architectural style from the plans that are eventually filed with a building permit.
Their instructions are that, why do I stamp the plan? Because that's what we approved. If we were looking at a plan over the height, we would have had to consider a whole different series of criteria.
Well, so now we're at 2 issues.
Yeah, and they're both tough ones you're going to have to get over.
So the first one is, again, with all due respect, if this board wants to make an issue of building permit plan sets that do not match exactly the zoning board plan sets, you will have hundreds of plan sets to go through, where you will find that all over the city routinely, between the time when a ZBA matter wraps up, when a building permit gets applied for, typically a lot of it generates from when the architects actually dial in and go to build the full actual permit set. You go, oh, geez, this wall has to come over here. We're actually going to run some ductwork this way. And so very frequently, at least, I only see the ones that go to ZBA first, right? I'm not in Mr. Vicari's office. He sees normal ones come through all the time. But in my line of work, I certainly see instances where the ZBA plans and the actual building plans differ. And the issue is, so long as the relief that's been granted, right? So for example, the relief here was alter and expand and change of use. And so he didn't go, oh, I have a conversion to 2-family. I'm going to submit 3 dwelling units, right? That's correct,
You
right?
went over the height.
So again,
That relief wasn't granted.
but again, I do not believe that you should be assigning, malice or ill intent, because it was not like, there's nothing sneaky about this, right? He said, hey, here are the plans. And in fact, I say, hey, he was asked to make sure the heights were clear on that revised set. And he sent them in, and it said 35. It was reviewed by city staff, and city staff issued a building permit saying, these plans are okay. 35 is the height. The building permit literally says height 35. So I don't think it's fair to say that he was knowingly exceeding the allowable height. He said, hey, I'd like to build this building. I have relief based on this footprint and this use, and I've made some changes, and he got the okay. Again, I admit that it was a mistake, and that, would have saved a lot of trouble if, it had got caught, right? If someone said, hey, listen, we're 30 feet by right in Gloucester. You can't do 35 without going back to the zoning board. He would have had to make a decision then in April, either come back here or trim the roof line down. But it's not what happened. The plans got reviewed, the plans got okayed, and the permit got issued. This is not a matter of, again, he was told you can do 30, and then he built 32.5. He was told you can do 35, and then he built 32
I
and a
don't
half.
see any record of that.
Oh, respectfully, Joe, this guy has made multiple mistakes. And for somebody who does a lot of construction, bothers me that he didn't even know this.
So Mr. Scott Petuello does not do a lot of construction.
That's what
ci-
you said earlier.
in the city of Gloucester specifically. And what I'm saying is that there are other municipalities that 35 feet is allowable by height. There's also other ways in which height is calculated. So for example, some municipalities give you the average between the peak of the roof and the ridge of the roof, right? And so you can go ahead and say you're only allowed to be 30 feet tall, but your roof peak is much higher than 30 feet in all these communities because the way they measure is to the midpoint between the, right? And so someone who comes from, we're baked into this zoning ordinance. We know it in our sleep, right? The average builder, especially the average builder who interacts with multiple different municipalities and multiple different bylaws and ordinances, does not know, oh, Gloucester is 30 feet by right. And again, there is,
Responsible to know it.
but so
They're
is,
responsible to research and know these things.
and so is, again, with all due respect, again, mistakes get made. The building department reviewed these. It wasn't like the building department reviewed these and missed these. The building department put on the building permit. This is not my client's submission. On the permit, the building department issued height 35. So the building department saw this height and knew this height. Again, didn't say 30, didn't say nothing. The building department specifically said height 35 on the permit. That means they saw the height and they missed it also. Again, the last time,
Mistakes, but it's not what we issued. And we're going to decide on what we issued. And if we're going to apply for a height exception, we're going to take a whole new look at it from scratch with those criteria.
no,
I'm not sure you're going to get the approval.
but that's where, again, if speaking can't,
Stop ignoring what we do here.
But
We're all
it's-
volunteers. We're up here. We stamp a set of plans. I expect that building to be built according to that set of plans.
I know, but with all due respect,
Then I do building in all towns. Every town has a different window you got to use, a different rating you got to use. But the builder's responsible to know that.
right, but there's an
Held
inspection.
to that standard.
And that's why I'm not saying that he doesn't need to come here and ask for this height permit. What I'm saying is that if you look at it in the context, this was not someone who, again, was told to do A and did B instead. He said, can I do A? He was told, yes, you can do A. He did it for 6 months. And then someone said, oh, wait, I shouldn't have said yes. It should have been a no. And that's where we are. This was not something that was changed after the fact. I appreciate your point about the ZBA plans, but again, with all due respect, this modification happens, all the time.
It's not going to happen anymore. If you bring a set of plans before us and we approve it, you better build what we approved. And I'm going to instruct the department not to issue, they have to have our signed plan to issue a building permit. And they're supposed to go out with that and make sure that's what's getting built. Now, if they're not doing it, we'll change that. But it doesn't excuse, I didn't know any better. You want to be a professional builder, developer, whatever, attorney, you should know better.
Well, to be clear, I didn't fill this application out. How did I fill the application out? Again, I know the height here, right?
Building one house shouldn't take 3 visits before the Board of Appeals.
No, I agree. And again, this was a mutual, I'm not saying that this was not a mutual, I'm saying, but it was a mutual mistake. It was, hey, I'd like to build this at 35 feet. And he was told that's okay. And these kind of, again, I don't begrudge, Mr. Vicari and his department. They get asked these questions on the fly all the time by builders. Hey, can I put the egress door on the left wall instead of the back wall? And they have to, make these calls, right? And, they're not going to get it right 100% of the time. But I would think you would go, okay, at the end of the day, the inspectional services department said, yes, you can build this. And in reliance on that, he went forward. And it wasn't until, 6+ months later that it got discovered, hey, this building's too tall. And here we are, right? And I'm not saying he has to be given it by right simply because he got the permit. What I'm saying is that when you get into the standards for a height permit, again, there's no overshadowing.
People complaining about the height. You seem to say nobody's going to be blocked by it, but you got a whole bunch of people complaining.
Well, I think as this board
It's going to
knows.
be the factor.
So again, if as the board is very much aware, sometimes abutters have concerns that are not necessarily founded in, the reality of it. I'll just bring the screen back up briefly. So again, this is a north aligned plan, which means the sun is going to come to the southern sky. So any shadows this building is throwing, it's throwing toward Parker Court, toward the Institute for Savings, that sort of thing, right? And so this is not going to be overshadowing the neighborhood. It's not in the way of utility lines. There are none of those adverse impacts that are, you know, the standard for whether or not.
Yeah, shadowing's not it. How about block of view? You took a peaked roof that we okayed that was below the limit. You brought it up flat. You just filled in two giant triangles of view from the people in the streets behind. That's a factor.
Sure, but again, the houses behind are 15 feet up.
Not at the first floor, maybe at the top floor, but they all got rights to what they were able to see. And when you ask to go higher, the burden falls back your way, and you got to meet all these criteria. You know that.
No, I understand that.
It's only on shadowing.
No, sure. But again, it's this, right? That's it. Like, you know, is that a substantial detriment to the neighborhood based on block of view, that yellow portion at the top?
It's also
We approved
the
it. It had
design.
more view.
Well, again, the design, as I said, you know, if the board's putting the foot down now saying, hey, I don't care what's been happening for the last 15, 20, however many, I've only been doing this for 15 years. So I can only say for the last 15 years, building permit plans frequently do not match the
Mr.
ZBA plans.
Sanborn used to call me monthly and say, hey, so-and-so, the permit you approved on Vine Street, they're asking to make a little change with the bay window. Can you take a look at the plan and tell me if you think it needs to go back to the board, if you think it's insignificant?
Yeah, no,
So there was no automatic, just send in whatever plan you want, and if they gets by them, you get to build it.
again, it's not about getting by them. It's about submitting it for review, it being reviewed, it being approved.
Why did he submit a different plan than what was approved? There had to be another plan.
But again, that is a change in practice. If that is what's going to happen, that's a change in
Let's
practice.
move on. Anybody else have any questions up front, or we'll take public testimony, the appeal?
Yeah, I'm interested in the process that occurred at the building department. So I don't know if Rob wants to, fill me in just a little bit on confirming or correcting, things that Joel has presented from his client.
So, Michael, what I can tell you is that Jerry had called us. He asked if he could, lower the roof, not lower the roof, but change the roof. It's not uncommon. Occasionally, I will call Joe and ask him.
Sure.
Okay. I was like, listen, submit plans. Let me take a look.
Yep.
I had one of my guys take a look at it. They missed the fact that it was 35 feet. I was in
Yep.
a massive transition where I was losing one building inspector, trying to hire another one, and we missed it. We made a mistake.
Yeah, so
We
just so
didn't make a mistake, we made a mistake.
Rob, just so you and I are clear, I'm not trying to beat you up here. I'm just trying to understand. I make plenty of my own mistakes. Sometimes they're big. So I'm just trying to understand intent, process, within the building department, from the applicant and stuff like that as I'm sort of processing my own decision here. That's all.
So most people, if they do want to change something and have gone to the ZBA, we'll take a look at what they're looking to do. If I find it's not significant, I will approve it. If I find
Sure.
that it seems significant, I will bring it to Joe's attention. Always do.
Yep.
That's how I was taught by Mr. Sanborn. Nothing has
Yep.
changed.
Yep.
in that aspect.
One point, Mike, though, is we had a house with a peak roof. We've talked about this 100 times. It
Sure.
was whatever, 28 feet high. Now they ask, can we flatten the roof? Nowhere did they say, can we make the roof 4.5 feet taller?
Sure.
They said, can we change the pitch? And then slide a plan in that's 32'6".
Yep.
That's what gets me.
I understand.
They were
I
just
understand.
going to flatten the pitch. This building should still be under 30 feet.
Yeah, it's a different building with a flat roof. I understand. Yeah.
Anyone else? We'll go to the public testimony. We'll open it up to comment. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the appeal? In favor of the appeal? Please either come forward or come online on Zoom, raise your hand. And we'll
In
get you-
favor of the modification, right? In favor of the modification of the special permit and a special permit for height exception. That's what's before us, right?
Okay, yep.
I just want to make sure the audience is clear. That's all.
appeal because you pulled back the permit. So, yeah, anyone wishing to speak in favor of modifying the special permit to a new height section?
Yep.
Please step forward, raise your hand. No one? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the modification of the plans? And I'll remind everyone, please give us your name and address first and then tell us what you thought.
Joe, it would also be helpful, I guess it's not required, it would be helpful for anyone, at least for me, anyone speaking in opposition, yeah, name and address. But if they could help me to understand where they're situated, in respect to the house.
Okay. My name is Rosalie Nicastro. I live at 8 Stanley Court. And my house is directly behind the house we're talking about tonight.
Thank you. Yep.
The top layer has a door. I have a picture of it here. From that door, you can look directly into my house. It appears that they're going to build some kind of deck out there. If they have a deck and a party, all the people on that deck are going to be looking into my house. So they not only blocked my view, they took away my privacy. The first floor, I'm sure, can look into my first floor, but I live on the second and third floor, and that door is directly across from my house, my apartment. So if anyone's there, I mean, they see us watching TV, they could see my TV. So not only they blocked my view, I used to be able to see Main Street. I don't see that anymore. And I did see it when the previous house was there. So they took away my view, they took away my privacy, and the house is black. I don't know anyone who builds a black house in Gloucester. So I have this great big black barrier in front of my house. I've been there since 1989, I think. So, it's, so I'm totally against it. That whole top level, if it wasn't there, there'd be no problem. But you can see, I think that door is including in that above the 35, right? From what he showed. So that's it.
Only about, a
Thank
little
you.
above 30, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Hey, anyone else?
Hi, my name is John Woodrow. I live at 37 East Main Street. I'm in a very similar situation as Ms. Nicastro is. I'm 2 houses down from her, but like her, I have a 2-family house. I live on the second and third floor, me and my 6-year-old son. And I have 2 decks, one into my kitchen, one into my bedroom. And they have big patio sliding doors that you can see right through if I don't put the blinds on. So it's the same similar scenario. And I bought this house 2 years ago for me and my son, and I bought it for a lot of money. And the biggest thing about it was the fact I overlooked the harbor there, right over the bank into the harbor. And there was no house there at all when I bought the house, and then something started to go up there, and I was, oh, okay. And talking about putting the house up, on September side, I was looking through my phone on September 7th. I took a picture, I think, I used to love taking pictures of the view there. And I knew the house was being built, and I was like, okay, they're going up. That's fine. They still get the view. They built the whole house, walls, everything, ceiling, top roof. I was like, okay, but I had a feeling. I'm like, I hope this guy doesn't go up. And I'd walk my dog around the neighborhood and go look at, I'm like, wow, that thing's really high for even 3 floors. But and then within I went to work one day, come back the next day, there's a whole nother floor up. And then I took another picture a week later. I got one from September, a week later, and that just I was showing people how my view, so long to that. But the other thing is I didn't even, and I have thought about it, they can, if they do put a deck on that back, which looks like they are going to, they can look right through my bay windows, me, my son, who knows who's going to be walking around, whatever. And I got 2 decks there. I put a permit in, I put a $50,000 I redid my whole deck for $50,000, living on the second and third floor. So, I mean, that's the situation I have there. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone online? We did have one correspondence come in from, I guess these people, they own a few homes there. It's the Trays and Company, the old Bill Trays Trust. And they own the house next door, and I know they own the one in between the two people that spoke. And they're in opposition to the project. Were there any others, or was that it? That's it. Okay, rebuttal?
Thank you. I'll be very brief. I just want to, again, address the specific comments that were made by the neighbors with regards to the decks. Give me one moment. I'll get my screen back up so we can look at the same stuff together. So the concerns that you that were just articulated relating to decks, privacy, that sort of thing. I just want to be very clear that this is the prior set of plans that were, I think, with the original permits. And those plans also had decks in the front, decks in the rear, staircase on the side. This was, these decks were always going to be that one in the front especially has been consistent through all the iterations. So complaints about decks, et cetera, these decks were always part of the various designs. Secondly, although I will acknowledge the original plans were less than 30 feet above average grade, which is why we did not ask for a height permit at the time. They still had, although they were peaked, they had this T design. So they're actually, functionally from a view perspective, it was the same as a flat roof, because if you're looking at it from the left and right, you hit one peak. You look at it from the front and back, you hit the other peaks. There was not like a typical single peak roof where you get those two triangles that the chairman spoke about to look over.
We weren't considering height at that point.
I am aware of that. I appreciate that. Obviously, had I been received plans that were more than 30, I would have been here asking for that back when I was last here in front of you. But I just want to be clear that this is not as radically different as one may think it is, going from a double peaked roof to a flat from a view perspective. And again, these decks have been part of, previous iterations this board has reviewed and approved. And so the neighborhood complaints you just heard would be, the same with the original design that you reviewed, with the design that was submitted in April, or with the design that had been most recently approved and that has been constructed.
Joel, I have a,
Sure.
just a quick comment, and then I have a question.
Mhm.
Or I have a question and then a quick comment, and then you can continue. So the house that we approved, what was the above average grade? What was the height?
I believe it was 26.8 above average grade.
Okay.
30 something
And-
feet from the front.
And this is 32,
32.6.
6. Yeah. So it's roughly 6 feet higher than what we approved.
Yes.
So you could do to 30 feet. I'm not arguing anything different. So 6 feet higher. And I would agree. So that's my question. Thank you. And my comment would be, I agree. I actually just came to the same conclusion. I was whipping through the plans here. That the comment that you just made, that the flat roof, if it was at 26.8, would essentially block the same as the pitched roof, because you do have dormers that obstruct the view. You have a main and then dormers in both directions that obstruct the view, just like a flat roof would do. So I'm just concurring with your comment from before. So go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, so again, I think when you get to the factors before you, for the modification, was there good cause? This was not a repeat, right? We acknowledged when we were here last time that without getting proper prior permission, he did too much in the full demolition of the property. And from that point forward, my client, every step of the way, has sought and received permission to do the things he was going to do. And so, although I also acknowledge the permission shouldn't have been granted because it was beyond the authority of the building department, this is not sneaking in plans. This is not bait and switch. This is, hey, can I do this? Yes, you can. And then he goes and does it. And then by mutual mistake, we find out 6 months down the road as builts are coming in that, oops, the answer in April should have been no, but it wasn't. So then we go, okay, I don't think you should be punished or, made to start from a different position than a normal permitting application would be. I think you should look at the merits of this. Again, this property, it's the last 2.5 feet of the main portion of the house, but not the entire footprint. That's the height permit. The houses behind are 10 to 15 plus feet. The shadow casts onto the street and onto IFS, which is a bank, right? This meets the requirements for a height permit. And I don't think it's fair to, disparage my client's character or give him some ill intent that was not there and use that as justification for otherwise not granting a height permit that otherwise meets the criteria. Same thing for modification. We meet the criteria. Was it a good cause? Yeah, he got a building permit. He built pursuant to the building permit. It was a mistake, but it was not sneaky. It was not tricky, right? This was a mistake. And to penalize someone for a mistake, despite, taking the right steps to request permission and receiving permission, I think would also be against what the zoning ordinance calls for. So I again would request that you please grant the modification, grant the height permit for the 32.6 as built. And then my client can wrap this up.
Your own testimony was that he asked to change the roof pitch.
Yes, two things. In April, he submitted plans to go to 35 feet.
He didn't ask for that. He asked
He did.
for their permission to change the roof pitch.
That was in October. The first issue was, again, if the October flat roof hadn't changed, he built the April plans, it's 35 feet to the double peak,
Still
right?
be in the same boat.
That's what I'm trying, but again, it was not sneaking something in. He submitted plans. Then the building department asked him to resubmit plans showing the height above average grade, which he did. That's why there's a second set of plans that comes in like 3 days later. And the height above average grade is 35 feet. And the building permit that issues indicates 35 feet. So if the building department hands you a building permit that says you can construct per the plans, which show 35 feet, and per this permit, which authorizes 35 feet, I don't think it's fair to then try and punish this builder for receiving permission that he wasn't supposed to receive.
So he wouldn't consult with his attorney as you representing him if he wasn't sure? Because from jumping from 26 to 32 and he was confused about the height, not once did it cross his mind to say, hey, let me ask legal so I don't shoot myself in the foot with this one. Because it sounds like he's asking for forgiveness rather than permission here.
But he asked for permission and was granted it. Again, normally, again, I only speak anecdotally. Normally, clients do not call me after we get through this process unless the building inspector says, no, you can't do something.
He didn't know he was going 6 feet taller than what he was approved for?
No, he knew.
You think that was an issue?
No, because again, Mr. Chairman,
It's a fairly significant change in the plan. That isn't like, oh, we're going to change the size of a window. He went 6 feet taller than what he was approved to do. He wasn't aware of that?
No, he was aware but again, he asked, can I do this? And he mistakenly got the answer, yes, you can. He didn't ask me.
I was told he asked, can I change the pitch of the roof?
That was in October.
So just to be clear, he asked if he can build 6 feet higher.
Yes, the plans he submitted showed 35 feet. The building permit that was issued said 35 feet. He didn't submit plans for 29 feet and then build 35 and then go, oops. He said, hey, I'd like to build this at 35. And the building department, again, innocent mistake, said, you can build it at 35. And he went forward. Then in October, he says, hey, can I flatten the roof instead of the double dormers? And they said, yes, but don't go any taller and get us some drawings. Okay, these look good. He kept going. Right? This is not him asking for one thing and doing something else. This is him asking each step of the way, can I do this? And being told yes. I admit the answer yes is the wrong answer. If he had asked me, but people don't call their lawyer to see about changing a building plan. They ask the building inspector.
Well, there's been plenty of building permits in history that were issued wrong and have been rescinded and taken back. Read your case law.
No, sure. But to do that, you still have to find that this doesn't meet the criteria for a simple modification and a simple height permit. And again, to use a Nymanism, forgive me for, paraphrasing, if you look at this, if this come in fresh and said, hey, we want to go 32.6, we are 15 feet below the people behind us, our shadow doesn't cast on any houses, I would think the board would say, yeah, 32.6 is fine. You've met the standard.
All with opposition of almost every abutter.
But the opposition from the abutters was about things below 30 feet. It was about decks and windows. Those are the
No.
by right components.
Stop paraphrasing. They object to the building being bigger than what we approve. So,
But no one has articulated anything regarding the last 2.5 feet as a specific harm. They've articulated decks which are below 30 feet and windows which are.
Joe,
all
I think
below.
it's time. I think it's time to have a discussion on the board.
discussion by the
Thank
board.
you.
I mean, I just feel like, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful to Joel. I think we're
I
just,
understand.
we've heard it. We're going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So I think, so here's my thoughts, whether you agree or disagree or like them or don't like them. Or the way I would look at it is the first thing I would ask myself is if the original plan had asked us to go to 30 feet, if they had asked for a special permit to alter and expand to 30 feet, would I have considered that substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the building that was there? So that's the first question.
Saying 30 feet.
To
You
30
said
feet.
30.
Yeah, no, I mean 30
Not
feet.
above the limit.
Not yet. I'm just asking
Okay.
myself two questions. So
Well, at
modif-
26, yeah, at 26.4, we all said it was okay.
yes. So I'm just saying, I think a fair question to ask ourselves, and it's the one I'm asking myself, is if they had asked to go to 30 feet, which is not atypical, it's be much more common to go 29.6, 29.8, 29.4, 29.10, whatever. Would we have said that that building was substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood? So I think each of you should ask that to yourself. And then the second question is, if they asked us for a height permit at that place, what would we have said? I'm not sure. I don't know. I was going to say, I'm not sure that it's fair. I don't think that's the right way to say it. For me, I'm not sure that it's fair to go from 26.8 to 32.6 in my mind, because my gut feeling is that I would have said, and I've said it other times, even when the neighbors didn't like it, I don't think it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. So I think it's fair for the applicant to argue that really what we're looking at is the 2'6" above the 30 feet and not necessarily the 3'4" that gets us to that point to consider the special permit for height.
I
So
also
anyway,
feel,
those are my-
Michael, that we would have, if it was before us and there was a bunch of neighborhood objection.
Yep.
You or I would have said, drop the pitch to 612 and get back under 30 feet and build your
Yep.
building.
Yep.
We've done that a million times too.
No, we have. Yep.
Sometimes we have to help them redesign to get to what will be approvable, you know?
For me, Michael, it's would the testimony in opposition be different now than it was then? Would they even have an opposition about height because they're under 30 feet? Going over 30 feet, you're in new territory.
Sure.
So I guess to me, it's no one's complaining about 26.8 or 29.11 3/4. I think once we exceeded that height, they had their right to make a strong argument why it is more detrimental to the neighborhood. Because under 30, they don't need permission from us. We're just granting, the height, everything is there. So to me, again, it's all about testimony in the neighborhood. And if it could have been different then, if they knew what was happening now, that might have changed my decision then on whether I would have approved it or not. So it's hard to say
Sure.
based on today's testimony. I have my reasons.
Ron?
I don't think I would approve above 30 feet with the obstructing views on the street behind. Tried to reduce it down to that factor for the height, and
Would have been easy enough to do. you know, to
Yes.
reduce it. Yeah.
And, I'm confused about the package we have. Doesn't affect my decision, but I don't know why I'm looking at a package with a peaked roof, which doesn't have decks on it.
Right, there was no plan submitted to us with the
And
application
yeah, I mean, we've
for
got,
what's built.
we got like 5 different data points and we have one plan and I don't know which data point it applies to. But my decision is solely based on that above 30 feet.
James, any comment from you?
I'm having a tough time with it based on, not to get into the weeds, but why I joined this board was a applicant with a flat roof that was just at 29, 11 3/4, and it was awful for the neighborhood, but we couldn't say anything about it. I wasn't on the board then. And this one's tough for me. I get that we're only looking at the 2-foot whatever, but I feel like if I was voting on it as new, I'd want to see a revised plan. I'd have a tough time with this one.
Thank you. Anybody else? Are we ready to make a decision?
I just want to go back to the question Michael asked about what would we do if it was to 30 feet? If I was looking at the pictures I've seen and what I saw today when I was out there, this is a demonstrably ugly building. And I would have concluded that it is what is the phrase in the language?
Well, what it looks
It
like
is not an
under
improvement
our
in the
purview.
neighborhood. It
Yeah,
is
but-
a.
Yeah, but that's
It's
not,
under-
but that's
the
not what you're asking
difference is
yourself.
Not
though.
under our purview, right? We deal with dimensions and height and footprint and setbacks. And the only thing I'm thinking about is they did not need to build this building 6 feet tall.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would-
I say ugly, I mean aesthetically, and it's a big box, and consequently, it's an enormous volume of space that it's taking up. And I think that is a detriment to the neighborhood.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I see which way this is going, so I just want administrative question. And I would hope the board would clarify in the vote is it sounds like the struggle here is with the height. And so I'm curious if the board votes not to grant the height permit, if we are still permitted to be at 30 feet or less above average grade, which would then, accept the modifications minus the height. Because again, the building, the height thing, the roof change was since October, but the rest of this was, since April, right? This has been happening. So the question is,
We don't even, your application doesn't even have a set of plans of what's there now. So what are you going to ask us to allow the modification to?
so
A photograph?
well, again, it would have to be I can come back. Would that make sense to request to continue this?
We've spent enough time on this.
I guess what I'm asking, if
3
you did-
hearings, multiple hours, continued.
I guess what I'm asking is if you deny the height permit, is the allowable height 30 feet?
What's allowed is what we approved right now. That's the only thing that's allowed is what we approved for the special permit.
Right,
That's the building we approved to be built.
right, but that is fundamentally different between saying, take the top 2.5 feet off and demolish 6 feet.
Up to the 30 feet.
I know, but your building inspector did. Or
Don't know. I don't involved in that.
But I
My
showed you
board-
the permit with his signature on it that showed.
Ed, you give us nothing in this application. You don't even give us current plans. As-built, nothing.
So they're all in viewpoint. They're all part of the record for this property. Again, I showed you tonight.
Go chase them down. It's the applicant's job. This is coming back to, you've got to provide us
And
what we want.
but I showed up tonight and I
You
showed
can't prove a modification of a plan that you never even submitted.
the plan was.
Okay,
submitted
so
to okay, thank
so
you.
let's,
Go ahead, Mike.
so I would like to be helpful to make sure, I'm not sure, I don't want to ask the question for the attorney. So Joel, are you asking that if we deny the height permit, can you still come back to us with a modification of the special permit? Is that what you're asking for? I want to make sure I understand what you're
Yeah,
asking.
I guess what I'm asking is that before you were two votes. One is to modify the special permit to match the revised plans that were submitted to the building department. Two is to allow an exceeding of height above 30 feet. And if you deny the height, but still allow the modification, hey, listen, you built the plans that you submitted that were approved. We're not letting you go more than 30, but you submitted plans, they were approved, you did build pursuant to them. You know, will allow that modification.
The modification, the plan you submitted was 35 feet. We're not going to approve that. We might
So-
consider a modification to a set of plans you want to present to us.
So I would like,
Future application.
would it make sense to just continue this rather than come back in a future application as there's an active building permit on this? And I can certainly come back in 2 weeks and say, here is a 30-foot version of the updated plans that have been built out there. And then, you know, addressing, going back to kind of the hypothetical you're all toying with of like, had this been presented initially, it sounds like, you know, I believe two or more members said, we would have said, hey, go back and get this thing under 30. And so again, treating this, you know, fairly, can I now request a continuance to come back and get this thing under 30? You know, and then just seek solely the modification.
I'm going to vote on the height, and we can continue the request for modification. But
Thank
it
you.
won't be heard without up-to-date plans of what you're planning to build. And it better not be a picture of what's sitting.
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Anybody agree with that?
Joe, I think that's a fair way to proceed. It's more than fair. I like proceeding in that direction. Yes.
All right. So
And I'm not arguing that I'll vote in favor of what he brings before us. I'm not arguing for that. I just think it's a fair way to move forward.
What we are going to do is we're going to take up a motion on to exceed the maximum authorized building height. But we need a positive motion and then we can vote. And so everyone understands, if you vote yes, you're saying yeah, they can build higher. If you say no, you're saying no. So let's have a motion on the exceed the maximum building height.
So before I do that, which six are voting this?
Axel.
I'd like to make a motion on the application of T&J Real Estate Investments LLC requesting to exceed the maximum authorized building height at 6 Parker Court to 30.
Second,
Hayden seconded. Roll call vote.
Mr. Nyman,
no.
Mr. Gelati,
No.
Mr. Wilson,
No.
Mr. Canavo,
No.
Mr. Parisi.
No. So we've denied the request for the height. Now we'll entertain a motion to continue. You're going to need to the 29th, 26th, probably too quick in 2 weeks, huh? Let's entertain a motion to.
I'd like to make a motion on the application of T&J Real Estate Investments LLC to modify existing special permit for the property at 6 Parker Street.
Second.
6 Parker Court and continue that. Thank you. To February 26th.
Second.
Second, yep.
Made and seconded to continue to the 226. Roll call.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our next application is that of Gary and Kristen Murphy seeking a special permit of variance to demolish and replace a single-family home and exceed the maximum authorized building height at 109 Bass Avenue. Represented once again by Seaside Legal Solutions.
Hello, Aiden Church, Seaside Legal Solutions, address 123 Main Street. I'm just joining so that I can share my screen here. So I'm here tonight on behalf of Kristen and Gary Murphy, who own 109 Bass Avenue. So the project is to demolish and replace the existing structure on a modified footprint. And I believe that the overall project will reduce the existing nonconformities on the lot. So in terms of background, we're in the R10 district. It's a nonconforming lot, lacking lot area and lacking frontage and width. And it's a pre-existing nonconforming single-family house. The right side yard setback is 4.4 feet where 10 is required, and the left is 8.5 feet where 10 feet is required. And the existing height of the structure is 33 feet above existing grade. So the applicants acquired this property back in 2019, and they're just seeking to build a new structure to their desires. So in terms of the relief requested, I'm going to ask first that the board respectfully analyze this as to whether or not there's an increase in nonconforming nature of the structure under 2.4.4. Obviously, where it's a nonconforming lot and a nonconforming structure, we could not ask the building inspector for such a determination, but it is within the board's purview, including for a demolish and replace permit. If the board does determine that it does expand the nonconforming nature of the structure, then I will ask for the special permits to alter and expand and demolish and replace and exceed the maximum building height. But I would ask that the board vote on the determination first off. So here's the full plan set. As you can see, the existing nonconformities. So the left side yard setback, where the site plan shows an existing covered porch. So normally the covered porch is treated as there's a 3-foot allowance into the setback area. This covered porch is a little bit different, where it's comprised of very large stone pillars and is fully enclosed around the base of it. It goes up to the first level of the structure from a lower base grade. So it's essentially an enclosed porch in that structure. So we're treating it as enclosed and pre-existing non-conforming. So here's just the proposed site plan, proposed floor plans, and the proposed elevation plans of the new structure. And then here's just a rendering from the front and how that will accommodate the change in grade as I was mentioning. And then here's just the elevation plan, the cross-sectional. And then here's another elevation plan. So here's just the aerial view and the map geo view. And then here is the existing structure. There's the porches I was describing, where the lower level up to about 6 feet above grade is fully enclosed and comprises those very large stone pillars. So as you know, as I mentioned, you can find that the project does not increase the non-conforming nature of the structure, and then no special permit would be required whatsoever. So here, the question that we always ask are, what are the existing nonconformities? There is the 1.5 foot encroachment into the left side yard setback that I just mentioned, 5.6 foot encroachment into the right side yard setback. And as I mentioned, the existing height is 33 feet above average grade. So, and then to determine whether or not it will increase the nonconformity, you look at what are the nonconformities after the project. So the left side yard setback will be increased marginally to a 2.5 foot or 2.1 foot, excuse me, encroachment. And that will add an additional about 7 square feet. It will bump it up to 14 square feet of total footprint that is in that left side yard setback. However, the right side yard setback is significantly reduced, down from 5.6 feet to 2.6 feet. So it's a 3-foot linear reduction in encroachment, and it will reduce about 72 square foot of footprint that is currently within the setback area. And that is shown in blue on that plan right there. So the total area of encroachment is decreased from almost 100 square feet existing down to 34 square feet of encroaching square footage in the setback area. And then finally, the height of the structure will actually be reduced from 33 feet down to 32.5 feet above average grade. So here's just that, just to show you that the proposed is actually about 1/2 foot lower than what is existing. So that's it in terms of the determination. Obviously, if the board does determine that we do increase the non-conforming nature through this project, then I can address the special permit factors.
Aiden, how about overall square footage of the dwelling? Current versus new?
I don't have that information off the top of my head. It is being,
Shame on you. You should have that.
I'm sorry, that is being increased pretty significantly, but most of the increase is obviously in the buildable envelope. And obviously, as I mentioned, that the footprint that is in the setback area is being reduced pretty significantly.
Sure.
Do you have a picture of the existing building? Because a lot of times, we're not just talking footprint, we talk mass.
Yes, so I have pictures. So here's the rear, and showing the left side, and then here is that front again. So it does add some massing, especially where, we are expanding on where that is just it's a porch on that left side. We're making that into habitable area, obviously, and expanding in the front. So we didn't, the architect didn't draw up existing architectural plans just because we're proposing a new overall.
Because you're going to tear
structure.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was more economical. Obviously, if it's something that the board is going to need to make this, to analyze this application, we're happy to come back with those. But just, for practicality purposes, we thought that you could probably make do with just the proposed plan and the footprint. So if I go back to the site plan, you can see the expansion here.
Yeah, no, the nature of my question is that we historically anyway, even if you're reducing the footprint on the ground, and I think that's fair what you're arguing down at ground level, we typically consider an increase in volume to increase the nonconformity. So
I would say that so the volume of the structure, obviously in the right side yard setback, is almost entirely eliminated as shown here. And again, where if you go back here in the left side yard setback area, it's the covered porch with the large structural base. It will be full structure in this portion, but again, it's a very small area in that left side.
Why would you not want the safety and guarantee of the alter and expand a non-conforming structure? That way, if you have people put it in the wrong spot, you'll be covered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to go with that if the board finds that it is increasing, but I think that the finding alone is probably sufficient. Just, I mean, I understand the board's reluctance to have people coming back after errors at this point. So if that's
Yeah.
a safer option, then we would entertain that. I have that prepared.
We typically have no issue with when it's borderline. Why not make it right with the alter and expand? Just protects everybody.
That's fine with me.
Runs.
If you want to make the determination of an increase, or if you want me to skip right ahead to the special permit factors, that's fine as well.
Anybody not in agreement that we should proceed as if it's an increase? Anyone agree?
yeah, I think it's a safe way to go. Safe way to go.
All right, so let's go
Beautiful
ahead. then.
project.
Move on to the special permit for both.
So obviously, it triggers the 2.4.3, which is just the substantially more detrimental standard. And then obviously there are also where we're fully demolishing and reconstructing there, it implicates 2.4.5 as well, which has its own standards. So in terms of whether or not it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing, as I mentioned, we're reducing a lot of the existing nonconformities, especially as it relates to that right side yard setback area. The left side yard encroachment, again, is only marginally increased above what is existing. And we're creating no new nonconformities that would require variances. So, and again, so the lot, I know this is more of a variance factor, but the lot is sort of like a parallelogram shape, and the structure is perpendicular to the street. So it is difficult to build anything that's wholly within that buildable envelope. So we're doing our best to decrease nonconformities while being able to, build to the plans that the applicants are looking to build and reduce setbacks reduce the nonconformities to the greatest extent possible. In terms of the 2.4.5 factors, the substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood has already been addressed. Construction following expeditiously after demolition. The applicants want to move back in, so obviously they're going to reconstruct as soon as they can after demo. And then just in terms of the height, I think it's probably, as you said, a safe bet just to go in, even though we are already above graded as a new building. So we'd like to just get the height special permit as well. So in terms of neighborhood character and obstruction of views and impairment of utilities, stuff like that, the overall height is actually being reduced from what exists. And the structure is only a marginally increased footprint with, massing, as we had talked about earlier, is not significantly increased. So if anything, we're making the conditions better for the neighborhood than what exists. And
So Aiden, I'm just curious, and Joe, I guess you can chime in as well, others. So you're arguing, even though you tear down the building, would you make an argument that you don't need a special height permit, or are you accepting that you do because you're tearing the building down?
no, I think that we do, and I think that.
Yeah, so we're good. I think you do, so I was just checking. Great, thanks.
And so, yeah, so I think that we meet the factors for the special permits, every special permit that we requested.
Great. Thank you. We'll, any discussion? We'll take public testimony first. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in favor, please come forward or chime in on Zoom if you wish to speak. Anyone in favor? Seeing no one online either. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Any opposition? Seeing none. Discussion by the board, or are we ready? I think personally, it's actually getting a hair shorter. So it's a pre-existing building, obviously, and I agree it does need the special permit for the height. I'm glad we're going with the 2.4.3 to alter and expand a non-conforming structure, so everything's covered. Anybody else discussion?
That's pretty good. I mean, I don't see it being more detrimental to the neighborhood. There's no negative feedback on it. Always waiting for the neighborhood to weigh in on how they feel about it, but it's neutral, so I'm okay.
All right. I'll entertain a motion on both.
On the application of Gary and Kristen Murphy seeking special permit 2.43, 2.44, and the height for 3.16.
Sorry, that needs a 2.4.5 special permit.
2.45.
Oh, 2.45, sorry. I make a motion. I reviewed the project. There was no negative feedback. I don't believe it's more detrimental to the neighborhood. They stayed pretty good with the footprint. I move in favor.
Motion made,
Yeah, I would.
seconded. Roll call.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes, on the special permit to alter and expand, full tear down 2.4.3, 2.4.5. And for the special permit for height, is they're actually reducing the height a tiny bit. So I would vote yes for both.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. For the decision's favorable. We'll appreciate a draft decision.
Will do.
Okay. Our next application of Francesco Lococo seeking a special permit. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Application of Francesco Lococo seeking a special permit of variance to demolish, replace a single-family home at 3 Loma Drive.
Thank you. Aiden Church again, Seaside Legal Solutions, address 123 Main Street, on a fairly similar application to the last one. So I'm here tonight representing Francesco Lococo, owner of 3 Loma Drive. He's sitting right over here to your right in the front row there. So this project, this is more of a renovation of an existing single-family home, where the framing is getting changed out on all 4 walls to accommodate a new window arrangement and to increase from 2x4 to 2x6 to accommodate a new second floor. In the past, historically, the building department and this board have treated that as a full demo and rebuild situation. So we're going to go in with that request from the start. And again, rather than try to get that later on. So, so we will be requesting a demo and replace special permit. In addition to adding the second floor, we're going to be expanding, enclosing what's an existing porch in the rear left and adding a new porch in the front and the rear right of the structure. So they are reutilizing the existing foundation for the structure itself. So we're in the R10, and this is again a non-conforming lot and a non-conforming structure. The lot area is undersized just slightly, and we're lacking frontage and width just a little bit as well. The existing structure encroaches into the left side yard setback and the rear yard setback area as well. So we're requesting, as I mentioned, a special permit to demolish and replace under 2.4.5. And in this case, we actually are requesting variances as well for lot area and lot frontage, and I will get to that in just a second. So the reason that variances are required here in what would normally be treated as just a special permit situation is that this lot was created in 1952 by deed. The plan in the top there that I'm showing, lot 30, is actually the lot in question, and that's a plan from 1950. So the lot is longstanding in its current configuration, and it was improved in 1956 with the single family home that exists right now. The owner actually acquired the adjacent lot, well, the previous owner back in the 50s acquired the lot that was adjacent to this lot directly to the north, and a small sliver that is adjacent to the right, to the east of the property. And that sliver is shown, you can see on the site plan right there where my mouse is pointing on the screen. So that was its own lot for a little bit as well. So there are 3 contiguous lots as of that acquisition. That owner had applied for relief to merge those lots in 1972, requesting, they wanted to do it to get one tax bill rather than multiple tax bills from what it said in the application. That relief was granted, but it was never recorded per the terms of the decision, so it never was actually effective. In 1988, and the city still treated these as separate lots, at least to my understanding, forever. So in 1988, the owner conveyed out what is now 5 Loma Drive, which is, again, the lot immediately to the north, and it includes that little sliver that I was talking about. The owner of 5 Loma received variances at that time, but so realistically, in the 70s, when these lots were all held under common ownership, the GZO changed, and that would have rendered the existing structure at 3 Loma would have been rendered non-conforming. So when the lot was conveyed out in 1988, it actually made 3 Loma become non-conforming with respect to the lot area and the frontage. So that's an extensive history, and it's kind of confusing, but basically, because they were held in common ownership at one time and the structure became non-conforming after that conveyance, the lots actually became non-conforming after that conveyance. We do need relief in the form of variances for the frontage and the lot area. The structure is fine because the structure has been existing for more than 10 years. So it's legally treated under 40A as a pre-existing non-conforming structure. So the special permit to demolish and replace is still valid for the structure itself. We just need the variances just to make everything official for the lot itself. So after that extensive history, I'll just go through the plans quickly. As I mentioned, there's the front and rear deck additions there. Marginally, the front deck is following the line of the existing house, and the deck in the rear, well, it's expanding the rear yard setback slightly. Most of the deck is within the setback area. And again, as this board knows, you can decrease the setbacks under special permit, just under the prior case law. And here's just the floor plans and the elevation plans, the existing floor plans, existing elevation plans. There's a existing ranch house building up to accommodate, family needs and additional room. Here's the map geo and the aerial. Again, here's the existing ranch style structure. So in terms of special permit standards, again, the work can't be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing, and it still needs to meet the reconstruction standards under 2.4.5 as well. So in terms of substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, while we are increasing the nonconformities slightly, it will allow the applicant to increase the area of the home to meet his needs. The owner of 5 Loma Drive, who is impacted most by this project and is the closest structure to the project itself, is actually written in support, and that should be in your file. And a lot to the rear that is impacted, arguably by the rear deck expansion is actually the Vista Motel. So don't think that the increase in nonconformities will be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than existing. And then here you can just see that's the owner who wrote in support, and then the hotel behind. And then again, significant amount of room on the right side to the adjacent properties. In terms of the 2.4.5 standards, again, so the not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood has been previously addressed. The plans have been provided for both the demolish and the replacement plans. We again plan to reconstruct expeditiously after demolition, and variances need to be obtained as necessary. As I mentioned, the variances will only be required for the lot nonconformities, and that's only due to that technical issue that happened back in the 80s that I'm addressing here. So the variance standard, literal enforcement would create hardship for the owner. This would require that he somehow obtain additional lot area and frontage to meet those lot requirements. That's not available in this instance. And where it had previously merged by operation of law with 5 Loma Drive, the ZBA has previously approved variances for that lot, and a house has been built, so the lots can't re-merge. So that hardship is related to the arrangements of the lots. The locus, again, has been treated as a single lot since 1952 and only merged just to the change of the GZO in the 70s that no one seemed to have noticed in the 80s when 5 Loma was sold back off. So again, I think that this project would normally just be treated as a pre-existing non-conforming situation that would just require a special permit. In this case, there was just that weird lot merger issue that we're just trying to correct through this process here and bring the locus fully into compliance with the GZO. It wasn't a self-created hardship. It was the result of an oversight 40 or 50 years ago that the applicant had no part of. So again, the relief requested is a special permit to demolish and replace under 2.4.5 and variances for lot area and frontage under 1.7. Happy to answer any questions on that one. I'm sure that we probably have some.
Thank you. Any discussion, or we'll take testimony? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Please come forward. Anyone in favor? And if you're on Zoom, you can raise your hand to speak on your device. No one? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Any opposition? Okay, we have one person on Zoom.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, sorry. Hi. I'm not speaking in opposition. I have a question.
I need you to give us your name and address first.
Yes, Elizabeth Foster, 9 Marina Drive. I am lot 94 on this map. I am directly downhill, sharp downhill. I abut this property, and I'm directly below this property. And I'm not objecting. I just have a question about this. What I don't understand on this plan, this area that, are you saying that the current deck area, it's just going to be made into another deck, or is the whole thing going to be filled in is my question. The back area, the back patio area.
The, well, we'll allow them to answer.
I can't hear you very well.
You talking the deck that's on the, if you're on Loma Drive, on the right side where you only see the steps presently?
I think so. Yeah, the
So
one that,
that's,
the
that
area
red
that's.
that
the-
red square rectangle is a new porch, I believe.
Okay, but that will be a porch. That's going to be exterior to the house,
Yes.
not going to be part of it. Okay, that was my question.
Candy stripe ones are going to be part of the house. And out front, there's a porch. And the back porch is where you go up the steps to go in the back door.
Okay. But that red outlined area that is not shaded, that's tending towards my lot there, that is just a deck. That is not.
Yes.
Okay. No question, no opposition, or no more questions, no opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that shows from the west elevation, Joe, shows it as a 3 steps up, then the porch, 4 steps up, then the porch. Yep.
Okay. That was clarified, so we don't need a rebuttal. Discussion by the board, or
I think it's a good project. They're doing what they can and updating the code, going to 2x6 walls. I don't have an issue with that.
actually, you'll be voting on this one in place of Peter. We'll have a motion on the plan, on the application.
I can make a motion if you want.
Thank you.
On the application of Francesco Lococo seeking a special permit to alter and expand per 2.4.3 and actually considered a full tear down because of removing the exterior walls per 2.4.5 and variances as explained by Attorney Church for lot area and lot frontage. This is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. I would move approval of the special permit per 2.4.5 and the variances as explained. Clearly, there's a hardship that's been proven. So I'd move approval of variances for lot area and lot frontage.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes, for the special permit and for the 2 variances.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes, for all the relief.
Mr. Ruiz,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. You've heard our decisions favorable. Appreciate a draft decision.
Thank you.
Helpful. Okay, our next application is the application of Emily and Vasco Mello, seeking a special permit of variance to add an addition at 37 Chapel Street.
I'd like to sit this one out, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. What was it?
Yeah, it's reconnecting right now. So give me 1 second.
You might find it's easier to just hold the microphone when you're ready
Okay.
at your height.
It's just loading, but I can probably start giving an intro. My name is Seth Morrissey. I'm with Olson Lewis Architects. I'm an architect representing Emily and Vasco Mello at 37 Chapel Street. And we are seeking permission for a special permit to expand an existing non-conforming structure on an existing non-conforming lot.
Seth, if you could just hold that mic nice and close to your mouth, it'd be helpful for me. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's still loading. Looks like I'm in now. Okay, so we'll start with the existing site. So the existing site, the structure is located at 37 Chapel Street. It is a corner lot. The nonconformities that exist on this lot is the area. So it is in a zone that requires 10,000 square feet. So the lot area is at around 60, just under 6,800 square feet. And then also the front yard setbacks, the existing structure is within the allowed 20-foot front yard setback. Then the proposed addition that we are adding to it is off the rear of the existing structure. It is highlighted in blue on this proposed plan. What we are doing is proposing the addition to sit within the required setbacks of the zoning. So we're meeting all the required setbacks and regulations for the zoning, except for the existing structure itself that sits well within the front yard setback. The addition is just under 100 square feet, and it contains just a small mudroom and bathroom.
Okay,
Moving, yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, there's an existing deck there. We're demolishing that, replacing that deck and expanding the mudroom.
so just for explanation to the board, we see something like this and we say, hey, why are we here? It's because it's a non-conforming lot and a non-conforming structure. It means it has to come to us to alter and expand. So that's what we'll be dealing with is a special permit 2.4.4, right? 243 to alter and expand a non-conforming house on a non-conforming lot. Any questions up front? Are we here the neighborhood? We'll take public testimony. Is anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Please come forward, or if you're on Zoom, you can hit your raise hand button on your device. If you happen to be on a phone, you dial *9. Nobody? Being none, is there any opposition to the project? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Being none, no need for rebuttal. Close the public hearing. Any discussion? Are we ready for a motion?
In the application of Emily Vasco. Oh,
No, I just remind me, I guess. I'm just having a little brain blip here. So why do they need a special permit?
They're altering and expanding a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. So when they hit both buttons, it has to come to us. If it was only one of them, the building inspector, because it's in the setbacks, would have been able to issue the permit.
So it comes before us and we're still asking ourselves the first question, is it increasing the nonconformity? So I think I'm just trying to understand, how are we increasing the nonconformity? Honest question. I'm just not sure they need a special permit, that's all.
Yeah, I think because it's both, There's no two-part test. So we should just deal with the 2.4.3 and just get it out there.
I don't mind giving them a special permit. I'm just not quite, I'm just trying to understand why they need it. So
Okay, it was driven before us by the legal department, so we just want to make sure it's correct.
I'm good. Yep, not a problem. Maybe I'll ask the legal department later why they need it. So, but that's fine. I don't have a problem giving it to them. So
We get a motion.
Where am I here? Application Emily and Vasco Mello seeking a special permit 2.43 to add an addition to 37 Chapel Street. It's a modest addition. This was triggered because both non-conforming lot and non-conforming building. That is why it's before us. I don't believe this project is more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood. For those reasons, I move in favor.
Have a motion
Second.
made and seconded. Roll call.
So James.
No, James.
Mr. Nyman,
yes,
Mr. Ruiz,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Heard our decision's favorable. I'll draft write a decision for you and we'll get it out as soon as possible.
got to pull down that.
Yeah, you got to take down your shared screen. Okay, moving right along. We have an application of Jeffrey Gordon and Teresa Sellers seeking a special permit of variance to add an addition at 19 Woodbury Street.
Yes, I actually showed up without a computer. I wasn't realizing people were presenting electronically.
Got to speak right into that mic.
Sorry,
please.
sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, I came here without a computer, so I can't present electronically. I hadn't.
That's all right.
I hope that's okay.
We have your plan.
Okay. Yeah, so this is
Name and address for the record, please.
right, I'm sorry. Yes, 19 Woodbury Street, Gloucester, Massachusetts. And I'm Jeffrey Gordon, representing the two of us. So this is a request for a permit to alter a non-conforming structure on a single-family home that's in the R80 zoning. We're proposing construction 8 by 5 foot enclosed porch on the southwest corner of our house that will enclose existing set of granite steps. The existing house has a nearest left side yard setback of 8.7 feet. The proposed porch will have a left side yard setback of 10 feet, thus further from the line than the nearest point of the existing structure. We've discussed this with the neighbors who are immediately across from this, and they have offered a letter of support, which was included with our proposal. And this porch will act as sort of a transition space mudroom to the outdoors for sort of our kitchen area, and in our opinion at least, will sort of improve and finish this kind of unfinished looking corner of our house from, you know, when we did an addition about 20 years ago. So that's.
But he doesn't need it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, just to clarify for everybody, on the application, you might have noticed it talked about a special permit to alter and expand, and then it also listed a variance for side yard. However, there is no need for a variance for the side yard because it's no more encroaching toward the side yard than what is there now. So we're only going to have to vote on a special permit to alter and expand, another 2.4.3. Thank you, sir. Okay, want to have public testimony? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Anyone in favor? Hearing and seeing none. Anyone in opposition to the project? Nobody on, so we will move on to any discussion. Or are we ready for a permit? It's a pretty simple one.
This is just like the last one, Michael, right?
It is. Yep.
Non-conforming lot, non-conforming building. That's why we're here for this.
No, this one is that side yard setback is it's supposed to be 30-foot setback and it's currently 8.7 and they're staying 10 feet away, but they're in the setback. They're extending an existing nonconformity.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep. I can make a motion if you want, or Peter, you can, whatever.
Go ahead.
In the application of Jeffrey Gordon and Therese Sellers seeking a special permit 2.4.3 to alter and expand non-conforming structure to do an addition at 19 Woodbury Street. It is it is extending an existing nonconformity. So it is increasing the nonconformity. It's clearly not more detrimental to the neighborhood. And I would move approval of the special permit.
Motion made and seconded for a special permit to alter and expand. Roll call vote.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canava,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Heard our decision's favorable. We will put together a decision and get that out to you in a reasonable amount of time.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
I'm writing it, yeah. Okay, two more to go. The application of James and Sylvana de Blasi seeking a special permit or variance to add an addition at 9 Ocean Highlands. Jeez, you got any attorneys?
I'm just having to recuse myself.
Okay, Peter will sit this one out. You don't have to run. Go ahead, sir. You can give us your name and address.
My name is Jim DeBlas.
You might have shut the mic off, and you got to get it to you.
Good.
Yep.
My name is
Yep.
Jim DeBlasi. My wife and I reside at 15 Ocean Highlands. We recently purchased 9 Ocean Highlands for my parents. They are elderly. So we are in the process of a major renovation of the home to create a first floor living arrangement for them. One piece of the renovation will be the addition of a garage on the left side of the home, on the southwest side of the home, just for ease and safety of access. The left side of the home is within the 30-foot side setback, so therefore we do need a relief by special permit on the side setback.
And so that's going up to that corner of that other lot, Hesperus Avenue?
Yes,
That's not yours, right?
No, that's not my property. It
Okay.
directly abuts a parcel of land. It's heavily wooded and it's owned by 130 Hesperus Avenue. So their structure, their home is about 550 feet away from the proposed garage. So it's not visible from the garage.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Anybody?
So just a quick, I think I'm just talking to myself out loud. So that side of the home is already in the setback, so they don't need a variance. They only need a special permit because it's attached to the home, correct?
Yeah, I just want to double check. Yeah, I got no measurement. Yeah, the home is within the 23-foot one, so yeah, it's
Yep.
within the,
The existing home is within the side setback already.
so yeah, this.
Yeah, if it wasn't, he would need a variance. Yeah.
Right, yep, so this would be just a alter and expand, makes the home non-conforming. So, we're good. All right, we'll open up for public testimony. Is there anyone in the audience or at home wish to speak in favor of the application? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? please come forward, or if you're on Zoom, hit your raise hand button. Seeing none, is there anyone in opposition to the application? Any opposition? Hearing none, we'll close public testimony. And we'll entertain discussion or motion on a special permit to alter and expand a non-conforming structure.
I think the neighbor most impacted has spoken by their silence. So I can make the motion if you want.
Go ahead.
Application of James and Silvana de Blasi seeking a special permit to alter and expand an existing non-conforming structure and add an addition on the, you call that your left side, I believe, to the Ed 9 Ocean Highlands. It is increasing the non-conformity by extending into the existing setback. It's not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. I would move approval of the special permit.
Seconded.
A motion made and seconded on special permit to alter and expand. Roll call vote.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Ruiz,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Heard our decision's favorable. We'll write a decision for you and get it out to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Down to the last one. I really thought Attorney Ellison had a lot more clout to get moved up the agenda than she did.
I think she enjoys the witty repartee so much that she wanted
Wants
this
to be sitting
position.
here? I don't think so.
Absolutely.
All yours.
For the record, Deborah Ellison, Ellison Law Office, 470 Washington Street, Gloucester. And I will share my screen, Mr. Chairman. The owner of the property is Action Inc. And Peggy Haggerty Steck is here. She is the CEO of Action. She's here on their behalf tonight. The applicant is Essex County Habitat for Humanity, and Megan O'Neill, the executive director, is here tonight. The architect is Treehouse Design Inc., and Kate Martin is on Zoom in case you have any technical questions. The applicant is converting the building presently permitted as an office building into 3 affordable home ownership residential units at 60% area median income. All of the variances being sought are for existing conditions, no new encroachments into the setbacks. They're also seeking a special permit to convert the building to 3 residential units under GZO 2.3.16 and a special permit for approval of 0 parking spaces where 3 are required under GZO 4.1.2. The building was previously used by Action Inc. as an office building. 20 to 30 employees were on site each day, and up to 20 clients visited the building on busy periods. Now there will be 3 residential units, 2 one-bedroom units, approximately 700 square feet each, and 1 4-bedroom unit of 1,469 square feet. There will be significantly less activity on the site. This is the site plan. Because this is a change in use, variances are required for existing conditions. The footprint of the building will remain largely the same. There is a minor change by adding an entry canopy on the Gould Court side of the building. The lot has 2 front yards, Washington Street as well as Gould Court, both of which are public ways. The main access is off of Washington Street. This building is in the R5 district. 3 parking spaces are required. Currently, there are no on-site off-street parking for what was previously a busy office, and there will not be any on-site off-street parking that is proposed for these residential units. This is the floor plan of the first floor. There are 2 units on the first floor, 1-bedroom units. The second floor will be 4 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms. These are the building elevations. This is the Washington Street side. You can see the canopy that's being added, and this is the Gould Court side. And again, we have the rear and the right side of the building. In addition to the requested variances and special permits from the ZBA, the applicant will also be seeking relief from the City Council for height over 35 feet. The existing height is 36 feet 2 inches, and that will not be changing. The applicant sent out letters to all legal abutters and has not had heard from any of those abutters. However, the board has received 12 letters of support, 8 from Gloucester residents and 4 from local organizations that serve our community and that are very familiar with the housing needs of our residents. Pathways for Children, Gloucester Housing Authority, Action Inc., and Housing for All Gloucester. We're not aware of any opposition. With regard to the legal requirements, the variances may be granted without substantial harm to the public good and do not substantially undercut the purpose of the GZO. The variances are for existing conditions. The only reason the variances are needed is because of the change in use. There is substantial hardship given the lot shape and the pre-existing conditions. The lot has 2 front yards and no rear yard. The building was constructed around 1900 before zoning and constructed very close to the lot lines. The setback encroachments are due to the original building location. This building will add additional residential units that are sorely needed in the downtown for the housing inventory. It will be affordable home ownership units at 60% AMI. Action Inc. outgrew the space and wanted to sell the building to a mission-driven community organization with the intent of creating affordable housing. Essex County Habitat for Humanity fit that description. For all these reasons, the variances do not substantially undercut the purposes of the GZO or cause substantial harm to the public good, and therefore request that the variances be granted. With regard to the special permit, I would suggest to you that it meets all of the 1.8.3 criteria. The proposed change from an office use to affordable home ownership residential use is in harmony with the intent and purpose of the GZO. The GZO allows conversion to a 3-family with special permit. Providing affordable home ownership units downtown is consistent with the GZO and the R5 district. The R5 district is a residential district that's more suited to residential use than office use, and it will not adversely affect the neighborhood, the R5 district, or the city to such an extent that it outweighs the benefits. Social, economic, and community needs will be served by the change in use. It adds 3 affordable home ownership units at 60% AMI, again, that are sorely needed in the city and especially downtown. Owner-occupied units strengthen neighborhoods, support long-term community investment, and allows individuals and families to live, work, and contribute to Gloucester in a meaningful way. Traffic flow and safety impact will be negligible. The removal of the offices will lessen the traffic and parking needs. Action had 20 to 30 employees and up to 20 clients coming to the office. Under the GZO, it may have required up to 12 parking spaces. The residential use will have much less activity, and the GZO only requires 3 spaces. It's also less than a half-mile from the train station, and it's on a main line of the CATA bus route, and therefore very accessible. The adequacy of utilities will not be negatively affected. It's served by city water and sewer, and there's no substantial increased demand for utilities for the residential use. The proposed residential use is consistent with the neighborhood character and social structure. It's situated among the residential uses in the R5 district. It's directly adjacent to the commercial business district in the neighborhood business district. and it will add foot traffic for the businesses and fit in with its residential neighbors. The quality of the natural environment will not be negatively affected. The footprint of the building will stay the same. The impervious area will not be altered. There are no wetlands or other conservation resource areas, and the lot area per residential unit is compliant. Potential fiscal impact is positive. It will add to the tax revenue and support downtown businesses. There's no vulnerability. There's no vulnerability to flooding or flood damage, taking into consideration the sea level rise. None of the property is in the FEMA flood zone or in the anticipated sea level rise. Lastly, with regard to parking, the special permit should be granted because it will serve the intent of the parking provisions of the GZO. The change in use will greatly reduce the need for parking. There is no on-site off-street parking now, and there will not be any for the much less intensive use of the residents. Again, the property is within half mile of the train station and on a main line of the CADA bus route, and it's consistent with the city goals of promoting the walkability of downtown and less reliance on motor vehicles. I would request that you grant the variances and the special permits, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Deb, can you just review specifically what's needed for special permits and variances, please?
You just pull that screen back up. So it needs a lot area variance of 774 square feet, a front yard Gould Court, 11 feet 2 inches, left side yard, 7 feet 4 inches, right side yard, 1 foot 6 inches, vegetative coverage, 4%, and then the special permits for conversion and reduction in parking.
Excellent. Can you leave that up for us? Is that a problem, Joe?
Oh, you what? Okay. Any other questions, or we'll allow the public? We'll open up the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? If you're in the hall, you come forward to the podium. If you're on Zoom, you can hit your raise hand button and be able to join in. Give everyone, we remind you, give us your name and address. And go from there. Why can't I see the participant? Oh,
Hi. My name is Peggy Haggerty Steck, and I'm the CEO of Action Inc. As mentioned, we're the current owner of the building.
address, please.
Sorry, what?
Address.
Oh, 80 Main Street, Gloucester. So we've owned the building for decades, and it served us really well as offices, providing community services like fuel assistance in particular out of that building. And our organization grew, and we grew out of that space. And we had wanted to continue to use that building for a community purpose, but we weren't able to develop it into housing at the time. And so we sought out a partner that would be able to build something appropriate in that building and retain the historic significance and beauty of the building, as well as
Peggy, could you make sure, just speak right into that mic so we can hear you well,
Okay.
please? Thank you.
So we weren't able to do that for ourselves at the time, and so we reached out to Habitat for Humanity as a community partner that we felt could create affordable homeownership opportunity there, which seemed very appropriate for that building at that location. And their project is proposing to make 3 homeownership units available. And as mentioned, by converting the building into those 3 affordable units, that's 3 more households, that's 3 more units on the SHI for the city. And folks that are eligible to become homeowners in that building are at 60% of the area median income, which we've talked about many times in the city as kind of the sweet spot for what folks here, what is truly affordable for people that live in this city. So for a family of 4, that would be approximately $99,240 a year. So it's a workforce housing initiative. And for us as a social service agency and housing provider, we know how cost burdened Gloucester residents are. 40% of Gloucester residents are cost burdened by their housing, spending more than 1/3 of their income on housing costs. Homes in our community have become incredibly expensive. The average home in Gloucester is now more than $740,000. This means that for many hardworking individuals and families, home ownership in Gloucester has become unattainable. To make this project a reality, we recognize that certain variances are needed. We believe the variances are minor and will have a minimal impact on the local community, and that the benefit of these new affordable homeownership units will far outweigh those variances. The housing need in our community is very real, and this project is greatly needed. And we hope that we can count on the support of the ZBA to help create 3 more households in Gloucester that are affordable. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? We do have one hand up, Caleb Friday, I believe it is. You can go ahead first, yeah, and we'll bring Caleb in.
Thank you. My name is Sonny Robinson. I live at 20 Harvard Street. I think you have received a prior email communication from me individually, but I am here tonight to speak on behalf of Housing for All Gloucester, a very broad-based, community-based organization trying to expand the affordability of housing in Gloucester. We believe this is a marvelous proposal and a reuse of this building from which that will come 3 affordable home ownership units. We understand that the project requires a variance for this new use and some building updates. We urge the board to approve the request. The building already exists as it stands today, and the proposed rehabilitation will improve its safety, condition, and appearance while preserving the character of the neighborhood, not to mention the wonderful addition of 3 affordable home ownership units for Gloucester. The project represents a thoughtful reuse of an existing building rather than any new construction. Converting it into 3 affordable homes will provide a meaningful benefit to our community by offering stable, attainable home ownership opportunities for local families who might otherwise be priced out of Gloucester. These are exactly the kinds of reuse, rehab, renovation we of Housing for All Gloucester would welcome seeing many more of these opportunities, and urge the ZBA to review and approve the requested variances as quickly as possible. We believe this project will strengthen the neighborhood and ensure the property remains a positive and well-maintained presence. The minor changes do not create negative impacts, particularly when weighed against the clear public benefit of affordable home ownership. The proposal adequately addresses the ever-present question of adequacy of parking arrangements. Indeed, we believe the home ownership units will likely generate fewer parking needs than the prior use of the building. So we thank you for your time and consideration and hope you will approve this project readily so it can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we able to bring in Caleb Friday? There's also a second person on there.
Pardon me, am I able to be heard? Okay. Pardon me. So I own the property on the Gould Court side, the front yard.
Sir, I need you to state your name and residential address first.
Sure. My name is Caleb Friday. My residential address is 3 Gould Court.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I am on the Gould Court. So I own the property on the Gould Court side, where the variance is sought, the 11 feet 2 inches. And I have a few questions. Pardon me joining late, but just kind of picking up on the very last point there about the parking, and it being less of a burden. Could someone just explain a little bit more? Because it looks like the number of parking spaces will be 0. Maybe that was covered already, and forgive me. But how is that to be addressed?
The application was, and I'm sure they'll address it in the rebuttal, but the application was for 0 parking spaces with the argument that currently or previously 20 to 30 people worked in that building with no parking spaces.
So yeah, once again, maybe I should let them address it. But the folks who worked there before were 9 to 5. So by the time residents came home, they were usually gone. Whereas it looks like whereas not that with the new usage of the property, we're talking about 3 units with folks who were there 24 hours because they occupy the unit. So that's slightly different. So once again, pardon me, if maybe that was addressed earlier, but could someone just speak to that a little bit?
They will in the rebuttal.
Okay.
Thank you. Aaron George.
Hi.
Are you there, Aaron? Just raise hand again and we can grab you.
Hi, Erin George, 79 Mount Pleasant Street, number 2 in Gloucester. I was speaking in favor of the project at 47 Washington Street. I think Gloucester is in need of homeownership opportunities within the community, and I think the proposed plan by Habitat for Humanity does minimal to change the area, and it incorporates well into the neighborhood. So I would be in strong support of the project, particularly due to the bedroom sizes and the proximity to the MBTA train station, that it would be a wonderful place for commuters to live in, something that we're working towards in this community. So I would be in full support of the project becoming part of that downtown neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Aaron, you class of 2007?
Yes, and tell Jessica I say hello.
I knew you'd be out here in the public someday. Good for you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, is there any opposition? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, we'll close public testimony, although I will allow the applicant to rebut or reply to, oh, wait a minute, do we have one? No. No, it's not in this way. We would ask that the applicant would rebut Caleb's concern. Was that Caleb?
Yes, if I just go back, go forward. As I said, the building was much more intensively used during its use as an office space. Not only were there 20 to 30 employees there every day, there were 20 or more people coming at busy times to the office. So there was quite a bit going on. There really isn't any place to add parking to this property. There is I think is a beautiful stone wall that goes all around the property, and it would have to be disrupted to add parking here. With the parking under the GZO, only 3 spaces are required. It is a very walkable site. It is one that's close to the commuter rail as well as all the buses and also very many amenities. So we would request that the special permit be granted. It's not a variance, so it's a much lesser standard.
Thank you.
Do you still want the list of variances up, or should I pull my screen down?
Oh, you can, yeah, we have it. You can pull the screen down. That'd be great. Okay, we'll close public testimony and discussion by the board. I just want to say one thing up front. I know people were going to say to me, why only 3 units? Why not 6? You know, we've really done a lot to approve affordable housing. But I get the 4-bedroom thing because of all the stuff we've approved, the dozens and dozens and over 100. None of them were 4-bedroom. And I'm sure there's a huge need for that and for big families. And so I get it. And that's just a comment. Anybody?
I just have a question. Because I'm home and I'm looking street view, I'm looking right at that building. Why is there a no parking sign out in front there? Do we know?
Well, which one are you referring? The one closer to Forbes School or the one closer to Gould Court?
The one closer to Forbes School.
So the road narrows there, and if you, when cars used to park along that, all the way up to that entry gate to the
Gotcha.
church, it got way too tight. So the city has kind of had a little crackdown on parking back
Yep.
from the corners and places that it shouldn't be. And that was pretty much why that sign went up.
Gotcha.
I just wanted to add, it's not often you get affordable housing at 60% AMI, and I think that's admirable of them to do that. They could have done 80%. So, you know, there's a big need for affordable housing, as they stated. And again, 60% is the mark that hits most people in this area. And I think that's important to recognize the use of this building, what they're going to make with it. I think they did a tremendous job trying to accommodate the people in this community to make this affordable, actually affordable. So I thank you for that.
One concern, and I'm just not sure how you protect it. I suppose you can regulate yourself or how Habitat are these being sold by Habitat like normally? So what prevents the 4-bedroom from becoming a rental to 4 different 25-year-olds? Do you have a way to prevent that? Sure, go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Megan O'Neill. I'm the Executive Director of Essex County Habitat for Humanity. So there's an owner occupancy requirement, and you have to, when you apply to purchase a Habitat home, you have to provide documentation on who the household members are. And so that is part of the requirement of purchasing the home.
Great, because that'll certainly control the over expansion of cars required.
Right.
You know, that's a good thing. That'll, if it's got to be a family with 3 kids or whatever,
Right.
you know, we're not going to be.
I can't guarantee that 25-year-old kids will move out, or, you know, they may stay at home as
Oh, yeah, yeah.
a lot of people have boomerang kids that are living with them. But
Yep, no, that's not a problem.
Yep.
We all grow our kids out eventually.
Yeah.
All righty,
I
that
just
answered my-
wanted to address the parking issue, which Mr. Friday raised, and I think this is why there is a zoning board of appeals, because we can't have rules that are carved in stone where everything has to get over every test. This is where we have to balance and say we are in a desperate housing shortage in this city, where especially for affordable housing. And if we look at the walkable part of the city, there probably isn't a building in the entire historical district that can meet these requirements. So it's a matter of balancing. It may not please you, but we have to take the good and not throw it out.
Yeah, and
Michael?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say, just in following up, I think it's fair. I think Attorney Eliason said as much, that its previous use was fairly intense. You know, this wasn't just used by 1 or 2 people, and now we're going to introduce 3 units in there. So if anything, it's not going to be worse, and it's likely going to be less intensive with the 3 units compared to the office building that was there. So that's part of how I think about it anyway.
Agreed. Anyone ready to make a motion?
On the application of Action Inc. seeking a special permit, 2.31 change of use to convert to a 3-family, and 4.1.2 for fewer parking, as well as the variance lot area, front yard, left side yard, right side yard, and vegetation coverage. I recognize the hardship there. It's got 2 front lots, 2 front yards, historical building. There's not much more you can do to accommodate all those setbacks. I do believe this building is not more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood, and for those reasons, I move an approval. Second.
Motion made and seconded for special permits and variances. Roll call vote.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes, for the variances and the special permits requested.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. Heard our decision's favorable. Good luck. Great project. We'd appreciate a draft decision, please.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. Great project.
Before we adjourn, if anyone wants to come up and watch me stamp and sign the actual plans we approved tonight, feel free. But without that, and those are the ones we hope they're going to build to.
One can only hope.
Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Seconded. Roll call to adjourn.
Mr. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Gelati,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Canavo,
Yes.
Mr. Parisi.
Yes. We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.